Jumping the balcony at International Amphitheater. We have a World Championship match here tonight as promoted by promoter Fred Kohler. This is the Great Atlas in this corner. You will soon see the present reigning heavyweight NWA champion Lou Thesz, who has risked his belt against this guy tonight. And there's Lou. He's just come into the ring. One thing that you probably should all know is the fact that Lou Thesz has a large group of youngsters and grown-ups, for that matter, around his corner here as they're seeking autographs. Here's Ed Strangler Lewis, who is Thesz's manager. He took him over, some months ago. And notice, if you please, the lack of autograph seekers in the Great Atlas's corner. Great Atlas is Maury Shapiro. He's wrestled for a number of years in the heavyweight division and has waited a long, long time for this opportunity to come about where he could meet Lou Thesz for the NWA Championship belt. Tony Hajek is the referee here. Ed Lewis looking for a little oil on our Mr. Atlas's neck, and Mr. Atlas is resenting it, would seem. His boy Atlas, you may remember dimly, I believe he made a television debut not long ago, which he played part of the Giant in Jack the Giant Killer, or Jack and the Beanstalk, whichever way you like to look at the story. Boys are discussing here what ring rules are. These are Texas rules, of course, catch as catch can. If you're out of the ring of your own volition and down on the floor, you have a count of 10. If you're thrown there or fall there, you have a count of 20. If you're out on the apron of the ring, you're allowed the space of 10 seconds in which to get back into the ring. Also, Tony Hajek is telling the boys here, such a handshake, Mr. Atlas. Hajek is telling the boys that should they produce a hold that he does not like, there's that World Heavyweight Championship belt, that they have until the count of 4 to release that hold, or they're automatically disqualified. Old Ed Lewis, Strangler Ed Lewis, has been around for many, many years. And he knew Lou Thesz when he was just a youngster and when his daddy was wrestling before him. So, for him to be seconding a man like Lou Thesz is only natural. There's the bell, and Atlas was caught doing his push-ups on the ring rope. Here is the waist lock. This boy, 1, 2, 3, you better break it up. Atlas is not what you would call at all a slow starter, and Hajek is right after him. They're starting these roughhouse tactics. They love you, Maury. That's why they like to boo you. Thesz is left-handed, you know. Here's another waist lock on Thesz. 1, 2, 3, and Lou knocked him loose. What's the matter, Mr. Atlas? This is best 2 out of 3 fall fair. Arm lock falling on Thesz. An outside wrist lock, single. Hajek down here looking for a pin. One, and Thesz made a takeaway there. Even though he's in that wrist lock, he still was trying to pin the Great Atlas. 1. It's always a sign of a good wrestler. Even if you have a hold of advantage on you and you can revert the thing, then you are playing the game as cagily as you know how. Thesz weighs 248 pounds as he came into the ring here tonight, and the great Atlas 236. They're both powerful men, both fast. And Thesz is one guy in the world who likes to keep a match clean if he possibly can. However, if an opponent starts crowding him, I don't think there's a guy that's any rougher or tougher than Thesz when he does get his hair up. Come on, Mr. Atlas. 1, 2, 3. You better break it up, Buster. Mr. Haycheck does not want you. Atlas always figures that he can stop the booing by showing his muscles, and all he does is make it grow. Now, that was a Pier 7 trick. Haycheck didn't catch that one. You know, we lovingly call Anthony Blind Anthony here. Actually, Atlas was using the ropes on the far side of the ring here to hold on to Thesz with his knee lock. That's why we call Tony Blind Anthony. He can see only one thing at a time. Atlas has got it well blocked out here so that it's nigh on to impossible. You want to rationalize Tony's behavior here to see this thing. He caught him then. There now, boy. 1, 2. Quit complaining, Mr. Atlas. All you want's that belt, and Mr. Thesz is going to see that you don't get it. So here we go again in the same old detail. Now Atlas is using his foot on the rope with his knee lock. I'm all right. You'll bruise your knees, boy. 1. Atlas is going to find himself in the position here of not being given any room to maneuver. See what I mean, boy? And a beautiful backflip there and a bounce off the ropes. What's the matter? Ain't it legal? You vote. Lou's a hard man to come into a wrestler's grapple with for the simple reason that he's left-handed. Oh, Mr. Atlas, you, honest to goodness, you should never have tried that one. You'll be wearing your chin around under one of your ears if you get another one of those. When Lou bounced off the ropes that time, he really clipped him. Those broad arm licks are perfectly legal, but you have to watch them and get them centered up, or they become illegal, Marty. Hey, Mr. Atlas, get off of us. Had we been down at ringside, as we generally are, you would have landed right on me. Tonight, I'm up in the balcony. I'm up with the real aficionados up here tonight, and you may hear some of them. Please, Mr. Thesz is the man you're wrestling. Mr. Atlas. Use your head, boy. Sure, he had his fists doubled up. Keep his arms from unraveling. Run under hammerlock. It was a beauty, incidentally. Let go from the trunks. No built-in handholds here. Take down. imagine all of his fingernails blue. Now, you wouldn't want that to happen to you. Quit stomping his pinkies. Flying mare, but it didn't loosen Atlas up one bit. You're standing on these curly lock there, boy. If you can stand on a crew cut, I don't know. Mr. Atlas, you're being illegal here, boy. People won't like you. Break it up, says Tony. He caught you then. One. No, he didn't either, I guess. That time he did. 1, 2, 3. Pass around the Smith brothers, boys. No, Mr. Atlas. No. And he swears up and down that both of them are after him there. Thesz for sticking his elbow in his ear and Ajak for arguing with him. There was a feint of the headlock and right back into a hammerlock again. Oh, fine. He really landed on his Fisteris, wherever that is. Lou's got a bean squeeze on Atlas now. Have to be broken up. They're into the corners. And that one, oh, now you're not going to scare him a bit. Now look out, Anthony. Those boys will run over you and never even know they've done it. Headlock on Thesz. This is the World Championship match if you just happen to wander in. There's Flying Mare. Still a headlock on Thesz. This match is young yet. It's best 2 out of 3 falls or a 1-hour time limit. So actually, neither one of these boys has as yet gotten a hold of his second wind. He had hold of everything else. Well, Mr. Haycheck, you're cluttering up most of our picture, you know. What? Hanging onto a headlock is our Mr. Atlas. Oh, he bopped Mr. Thesz in the peepers. You can't use the ropes. Get up, you. 2, 3, 4. That was a count of 3.5 before Atlas let go. And he's right back. 2, 3. Hey, now, chum, that is getting tiresome. Another headlock. Might say it was the same one. See how Atlas makes those takedowns? By using the ropes? They're not quite cricket as far as takedowns are concerned, but they're takedowns. And Tony doesn't catch him. Again. ropes on this ring, this kid Atlas couldn't work at all, could he? You know, they called Mighty Atlas a peacock of the mat. You can see why. Look at his wrestling shoes. Those aren't cuties. Atlas is getting roundly cheered here in the form of boos for these rope-using tactics of his.
Oh, no, me, I never use the rope. Oh, yes, you do, Buster. Bust it up.
Hey, fellas, tilled up. That's fine. Thank you. Check. It's a parum. Oh, there's a back flip on Thesz. Mr. Atlas thought he had him. A drop kick could be. Flying body press. 1, 2, 3, and the first fall roughly goes to Lou Thesz. The rub there. And listen to Mr. Atlas sing in all keys, all at the same time. Lou Thesz won the fall with a body press. That's the first fall of this championship match between this lad, the great Atlas, and Lou Thesz. And giving Lou some information, Ed is complaining to Tony Haycheck about the tactics that Atlas is using, and Mr. Atlas is complaining about having to wrestle two men, one by proxy, in form of Ed Strangler Lewis, Thesz's manager. Many of you probably who have become addicts of wrestling via the television route, probably Ed Strangler Lewis is only name to you. But that was the old boy himself, and we'll probably have more shots of him as the evening goes on. There's the bell, and we're off and running on the second fall of a World Championship match here in International Amphitheater. This is Pappy Davis talking to you. Atlas is going after this very famous full Nelson of his that he calls the Atlas hold. Lou has shown him how to use the ropes here in a good way. These boys are both in superb condition, both of them, for this match. Toughie right into the gizzard. Those are broad arm licks. They're not delivered with a fist. Another headlock on Thesz and a poking right above the right eye. A knee lift right the same side of the face. It's a neck set that Atlas is trying to maintain here on Thesz, but we'll have to break it up because he was stymied by being in the corner. He couldn't move hardly. Thesz is still trying to get his head back on right. Another headlock. Well, there goes Atlas again, walking on the ropes. From where we are up in the balcony, you should hear these $1.35 guys up here take after Atlas for his illegal tactics. I think they're worse than the ringsiders. You know, I just happened to think of it that in addition to boxing, wrestling, I think, is one of the few spectator sports where the fans, the high-priced, high-paying fans, are down lower than the scene of action. They're looking up on this game all the time. Atlas still hanging to his headlock. Tried there for a full Nelson, but missed it. Now he's fussing at Haycheck for being in the way. going to get in a little road work here to get his head cleared up. Oh, I don't think he'll kick you yet, Maury. But if he does jump, you'll know it. There's side mare. Another headlock on Thesz. Onto the ropes. There's a flying toe hold on Atlas, and Thesz is going to wear him slick with it. Mr. Haycheck says, "You won't give up, huh? You won't give up, huh?" That's the way Tony says it. You've heard him probably many a time when we were at ringside and could hear him on our mic. "You won't give up, huh?" Some of the answers that he gets are not always genteel, I can tell you that. What with being given in the heat of battle. All right, Thesz has to break up the toe hold. Come on out in the center of the ring. He wants to help Mr. Atlas, Tony. He caught that one right on the breastbone again. Okay, so you've asked for it here, Mark. Look at the tremendous strength of this guy, Thesz. When he does, but what a beautiful kangaroo from the great Atlas. Mr. Thesz is knocked halfway out in the North 40 here. There's another reverse backflip. And here goes the Atlas hold, or the Atlas sleep hold. Been known for 40 years as full Nelson. I don't see why we'd have to change it now, but Mr. Atlas wants it that way. Thesz is going to be in the land of Nod here if this keeps up. He finally had sense enough just before he passed out there to say, okay. Now, Tony, the problem is getting Mr. Atlas loose. When he puts this one on, he locks up his knuckles, and it becomes very hard for him to let go. Yes, sir? He won one finally from Lou Thesz. Atlas, when he puts on this full Nelson, interlaces his fingers so deep and so tight. After the pressure is on, it's hard for him to get his fingers loose. There's Ed Lewis, who has walked in here now and is working over Mr. Atlas. I've got news for you. Ed Lewis is not at all afraid of you. He would just as soon undo you like a new shoebox as look at you, and the old boy is still capable of it. So do be careful. When the crowd gets to working the great Atlas the way they are here right now at the moment. Now, you leave Mr. Lewis alone, will you? Haycheck has just asked Lewis to step out of the ring here to stop the possibility of a real head-on collision between himself and Atlas. Well, there's... No. That was just a 10-second whistle. Now, you gotta wait. Lou's pretty well worn down with that full Nelson. And Atlas is going to try and get in here and take advantage of a groggy man while he can. You know, full Nelson can very easily dislocate your neck without a bit of trouble. That's his biggest problem. And Atlas has that NWA championship and the belt right in front of him now, so he's not going to stop at anything short of using a sledgehammer to finish Thesz off. Well, there he is. He's got it set up again. How long can this go on? Oh, no, looky here. Maybe. This count is on Atlas. Don't forget that. 1, 2, 3. Yep, he thinks he's won it. But he's going to be a disappointed boy because Haycheck was counting the pin on his shoulders. No, no, Mr. Atlas. It was your shoulders that were flat of the mat. Not Thesz's, because he had one completely up and was lying on top of you. For that reason, when Tony Haycheck counted 2, 3, he was counting on you, Buster. Yes, sir, I'm sure that Atlas is convinced that somewhere in this crowd there is a gunner. He feels like he's done had it, but Lou Thesz is still the reigning heavyweight champion of the NWA, and perhaps he will live to wrestle the great Atlas in another day. This is Russ Davis speaking to you from ringside at International Amphitheater in Chicago. We hope you've enjoyed this promotion of Fred Kohler's tonight, and we'll look forward to being with us again when we have another such match of this caliber. This has been a real great one and had a very much surprise ending to it all the way through.